Alright, once again, welcome to Creative TV, and today we're headed to Nelson's Ghost Town in Nevada. Now keep in mind, Nelson's Ghost Town is free. After the first 15 minutes, you have to pay a small fee to explore the property. And before you explore the property, you have to go into the store, you have to check in. There are certain spots on the property that you cannot go into, so keep that in mind. Please do not trespass and respect their privacy on those certain properties. So with that being said, let's jump into the video. Here we go. Alright, so when you first drive into Nelson's Ghost Town, this is what you see. That's the store. And they also live in that home. So make sure you check yourself in. And a little about Nelson's Ghost Town. It's an abandoned gold mine located just 45 minutes from Las Vegas. It's been featured in tons of music videos, films, and video games. Though it's not just a spot for pop culture fans, join a guided tour and check out the restored houses, cool historic artifacts, and a collection of vintage cars. You can drive a few miles to the east to see Nelson's Landing, where a short trail downhill leads to a lookout which views of the Colorado River. It's also a great pit stop on a daily trip to Vegas or to Hoover Dam. Highly recommend checking this place out. You'll definitely like it. So back to Nelson. Mining continued throughout the first half of the 20th century, finally ceasing in the 1940s. Nelson sat largely abandoned after the mining stopped. The area known as Nelson was originally called Eldorado in 1775 by the Spaniards, who made the original discovery of gold in the area that is now Eldorado Canyon. The town was the site of one of the first major gold strikes in Nevada and one of the biggest mining booms in state history. Nelson's Ghost Town is one of those places. It has become a bit commercialized. Besides exploring the buildings and the old artifacts, there are also mine tours that you can also take. Gold and silver were discovered here in Nelson's Ghost Town around 1859. The rush to the canyon began in 1861. Several mining camps were established in the canyon, and a steamboat landing at the mouth of the canyon on the Colorado River, called Colorado City. In its heyday, the area established a reputation for being rough and lawless. During the American Civil War, deserters from both the Union and the Confederate armies would wander there, hoping that such an isolated location would be the last place military authorities would look for them. The community called Nelson was named for Charles Nelson, a camp leader who was slain in his home along with 4 other people in 1897 by the renegade Indians of Vote. Between 1901 and 1905, the San Pedro, Los Angeles, and Salt Lake Railroad was built across southern Nevada through Las Vegas to Daggett, California. The nearby railhead ended the need for steamboats at the Eldorado Canyon. The landing and the mill there were abandoned. The town of Nelson was born near the head of the canyon nearest to the railroad. The post office of Eldorado was closed on August 31st in 1907 and moved to Nelson. Nelson's Landing, about 5 miles east of Nelson at the downstream end of Eldorado Canyon, was a village and landing established on the Colorado River Reservoir, Lake Mojave, where the canyon had its influence with the lake. The wharf area of Nelson's Landing was destroyed during the flash flood on September 14 in 1974. Nelson's Landing washed into Lake Mojave after a strong downpour in the regional mountains sent the runoff down from the channels and produced a flash flood. There are 5 wide channels that run from local mountains towards the river, all which convey into a small outlet where Nelson's Landing was. The entire landing and village were destroyed, and 10 people died when the flood came through the wash. Among those killed was Ted Dorsey, head coach of the basketball team at Claremont Men's College, now Claremont McKinnon College. The wall water and the debris was reported as about 40 feet high as it reached the river. Now, moving forward to today, the 20th century, the mines and the landing are accessible through the town of Nelson off of US Highway 95, about 25 miles southeast of Las Vegas. Much of Nelson, which was not impacted by the 1974 flood, remains today and is located near the top of the wash, away from the flood channels. The fate of Nelson's Landing is a warning to visitors to this region who should watch for conditions leading to flash flooding. They should also be cautious of open mines and ventilation shafts. So there you have it, just a little brief story about Nelson's ghost town here in Nevada. Really cool little town, a lot of history here. I really did like it. A lot to explore. So if you're ever in town or if you're passing by, hey, please do make a stop at Nelson's ghost town. I think you'll really like it. I know I did. I can definitely see myself going back and taking a tour of the mine. I think that'd be really cool. I love this church. A lot of history right here in this church. I really liked it. Nice little layout. It was pretty nice. There's me and my wife. And it looks like I don't know what this, old piano maybe? There's a lot of history here in this little area in Nelson. So with that being said, enjoy the rest of the video. All right, once again, I want to say thanks for visiting Creative TV. And with that being said, we'll see you back at the next video.